Here we are. We are about 15 minutes on in our bench rest, and as you can see here, the dough has really expanded. So not only has the bench rest provided an opportunity for a little more fermentation and development of the dough, making it a bit more airy, but this process also means that the gluten has had a chance to relax further and makes the shaping easier. I'm going to do 2 of these in an oval shaped banneton, which looks like this, and I'm going to do 1 of them in a round banneton like that. Now, if you don't have a banneton, not a problem. You can just take a bowl and something like a dishcloth or something that's got a sort of a tight weave to it. Linen is fantastic if you have it. Dust it well, and you can use that. Okay, let's make a start with our shaping. I'm going to begin with our sandwich loaves. I'll put our tins here. Right. So you can see that the tin is about as wide as that. So we will do it this way. Now I'm pressing out a fair bit of the gas because for a sandwich I don't want big random holes. So I'm giving it a good push. And yeah, let's get going. Do a kind of folding in of the nose. And that's all there is to it. And I'm going to put that there just to seal the bottom. I'll take the second one, a little bit of flour. These are being placed seam side down, so that gives the seam the chance to seal. I'm now going to just take a little bit of flour and dust each one to go there. And all I do now is take each one like that, seam side down, and put it into the tin. So there we are. A little flour down the side there. Just a little bit of insurance to make sure it doesn't stick. That's it. Okay, I'm now going to shape these for the bannetons. And so I'm going to put some flour down here because these are going to be shaped and then they're going to go onto the flour itself. Right, so let's make a start. How do we do this? Turn it over, press it down a little bit. I just heard some gas escape there. We don't want too much escaping. And exactly what I did before for the pre-shape. We just fold it in like this, very simple. And then use the tension of the dough attaching itself to the countertop to get a nice shape like that. And then I turn it into like a little torpedo or rugby ball. And I'm now going to shape the round one. But that's really the same process, except this time I'll just leave it round. Simple as that. So not difficult. I'm working a little bit quickly because the dough is still kind of sticky. And there we go. That's nice. And I'll just pick it up like that. Put it on there. Now again, the seam is down at the bottom, so that means it's getting a chance to seal with the weight of the dough on it. And what I'm going to do now is take some flour and really coat these, because what you're seeing now is the top of the dough is what's going to go underneath in the banneton. So this is really the part that you don't want to stick. So you can really be quite generous and get it all on there. Now in the banneton itself, I have got some coarse ground cornmeal. I just happen to like that. The corn works quite nicely to stop the dough sticking, but it also adds a bit of flavor to the loaf. You get a little bit of toasted corn in there when you bake it. Remembering that we're going to put this in upside down, so this corn will end up on the top of the loaf when we bake it, because we bake it back out in the way that you're seeing it now. So let's take the round one first. We just pick it up and put it in. That is now ready in its banneton, or its bread basket, or its bowl with a cloth, or whatever the thing is you want to do, or alternatively your tin. And this will really fill this up. When we talk about doubling in size and doubling in volume, You imagine this to be something like that when it's doubled, but actually it isn't, because the shape of this banneton is like that. And so there's a lot more volume higher up than there is down below. So once this kind of reaches this rim here, that's more or less double in volume and about where you want to be when you come to baking it. But we'll keep an eye on it. Now I'm going to just simply put these in, like so. Those two are ready. They will spread out this way and they will fill up the banneton. So that process now of the final proof is probably going to take, my guess, half an hour, 45 minutes. If the temperature was cooler in here, it could take anything up to 2 or 3 hours. So you really have to watch the dough and not the clock. So in this case, I'm going to keep a keen eye on this dough because it's vigorous and I don't want it overproofing. So I'll be back again in about half an hour to look at these, keeping a beady eye on them. If they look like they need another 15 minutes or 20 minutes, let that run, and I will in the meanwhile get my oven good and hot to take these. So here we are, 45 minutes on, and this is what the bread looks like. So it has risen substantially. Now, one of the big challenges one always has, and I have, is knowing when the dough is at the right moment to go into an oven. It's very hard to tell. I tend to look at volume, so in these tins it's quite easy because the tin was about half full when we put the dough in, and it's now more or less doubled in size and is up to the top of that tin. So I'm confident that they're ready to go. So it happens that because I have these with me, I also know that this is more or less doubled in the same amount of time. So that's pretty useful. There's a lot of talk about how you tell, press, you've got to do this and see whether the indentation lifts out or not, or whether it stays. So I think by the indentation method, i.e. you do this and release it, that's a slow return back to the surface. One might say by that measure these are slightly underproofed, but I would rather have sourdough loaves like this, slightly underproofed than slightly overproofed. So I'm going to simply press on. What do we do next? We take these loaves, these two, we put them onto a baking sheet. I use a baking sheet, and we score them, and they go into the oven. The oven I use, I can't turn the convection off, so it blasts away. It's super hot. 500 degrees is too hot for this kind of bread, so I actually tone it down. But I start at 500 degrees because when I put this bread into the oven, along with that metal baking tray, a lot of energy is removed from the oven, so the temperature drops quite quickly. And so what you want to do at home, even if you don't want to bake at 500 degrees, put your oven up to the highest that you can, put your bread in, and then turn it to the temperature you want. Okay, I'm going to now get my tray, which I have already prepared. So let me start by turning these loaves out. That's the first thing to do. There's one. Now I'm going to score these loaves. This is a grignette or a lamb, which is somewhat typical of what gets used in the industry. It's a razor blade in this case. You can use that to cut. If you don't have one of these, don't worry about it. This is a little serrated knife, and serrated knives work really well. You do a quick cut with that, and it works like a charm. So you can use either of these. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so without any further ado, into the oven we go. All right, everyone, it's time to get the bread out of the oven. Let's take a look. And there we have it. I'll turn it this way and you can see what these look like. So, there we are, the proud owners of 4 loaves of sourdough bread. Each one was about 600 grams when we put it in, and they'll now weigh somewhere around 530, something like that, because of the moisture that's lost. You can't hear this, but they are singing, which is the word we use for the crackling that goes on as they come out of the oven and sit here and cool. So in another hour or two, these will be ready for eating. So thank you for joining me, and we'll see you later for a look at the inside of these loaves.